You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Thank
you guys so much for joining us on our 8th episode. It has been an amazing ride to actually put out the content and our private conversations so that you guys can enjoy. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much to the love. If you're enjoying this podcast as much as we are, please subscribe, hit the like button, make comments. We've already been talking to a couple of fans already of the show, and we're really, really excited to bring you more content as we're on our road to our first 100 subscribers. Please, please, please make sure you like and subscribe to this. And I'll start this by telling you this. We are super excited to bring you one of the biggest storylines right now in a comic book world. We are phenomenally excited to talk about. And so now that you know what we're going to be talking about, we're going to have this conversation over the course of 3 seasons of this particular Mark Grayson Invincible. What a ride it's been. I'm going to be the first one to say this. I did not know about Invincible until Amazon came out with the show. I'm enthralled in Marvel and DC and some of the Image stuff. I know my guys P and Co love Spawn, same Image comic books. So I want to go and start this by just having a chronological question. I want to ask you guys both of what you thought as you kind of progress through this show. And I'll start off, and I want you guys to both answer this one. So tell me your overall thought about Invincible and this introduction to this universe. How do you take it? I'm gonna tear this off, and I'm gonna start this off with Pete.
Very similar to you. I wasn't. I didn't read the comics. I didn't know. I know of Image Comics because of Spawn. I knew of Spawn because of the animated series that came out on HBO ages ago. I think it was '97. But a friend of mine at work told me, "Yo, you watched Invincible?" And I was like, "Nah, not really." He's like, "Yo, it's pretty dope." So I started watching it, and it was interesting storyline. I like Cole and I brought up the animation style before of these animated shows and movies. That's something that grabs you as well. Because if it's not really good, it's not gonna like the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the 3-parter. I didn't really dig the animation there, but the animation here was good, and the voice acting is great here. There's a lot of big name. There's A-listers on here doing voice work on this show. But I was same thing, introduced on through Amazon, and this is not something that ever since I started watching it. I started watching it like week 4 of the first season, and then after that I was like, damn, I wanted more, but then I had to wait every week like everybody else. But and then ever since then, I've every week when it's come out, I'm watching it right then and there. But I'm hooked. Great season finale. We'll get to it.
Cole, I know that again, this isn't one of your go-tos. Just your overall thought of what you've seen so far.
Well, I have to admit, I was forced upon it, like out of my will. I just want to testify right now that I didn't want to see it.
Blink twice.
Blinking twice. It being recommended to me and me checking it out. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was cool how you can expand an idea, and constantly evolve and change it. So I thought personally the writing was good, animation was on point, like Pete said, and overall it has a good story. So once again, give me a good story with some good acting, and I'm all in. So overall, looking at it and seeing it in a different way, because like Puba said, with Marvel and DC. I've been, really tied to it. Shoot, he put me on to Spawn long time ago, and when I saw that, that was different for me. So I knew there was like a lot of differences out there when it comes to superheroes and comic books. So overall, watching all 3 seasons, I could see why it's very popular, and I could see why people will definitely enjoy a show like this. So really good stuff.
Cole, I'm going to stay with you on this particular question. Do you like how they bring in the title card, same way we just did earlier, and saying his name? Do you like that portion that the title card will show you a little bit of the show, and then as soon as they drop the name, it comes up? How do you feel about that introduction?
Well, when they say the name, and they change it up for you, I thought that was brilliant. I actually enjoyed it. So on the first season when they were throwing the blood, I was like, enough blood, please. You keep throwing so much blood. This thing, like, now it's completely covered. When it came to like season 2, I saw they switched it up, and I said, I like this now, because not for nothing, that storyboard is going to tell you more or less how the season is going to be played out. You just got to figure it out on your own. I mean, that's what I took from it. And then with season 3, I was like, this is cool. They're switching up the backgrounds, just the colors. But if you notice, the colors do play a part within what those episodes are giving you for that season. So, man, I thought that was super brilliant. I loved it, actually, even with too much blood. But yet, I loved that. I thought that was so dope.
Pete, my next question goes to you. Guardians of the Globe. It has a very Justice League, the Seven from The Boys, even Teen Team. What was your take on those names compared to the groups like Avengers that you've seen?
One of the things, growing up, one of the things I've always liked is like a different universe. Like, you see George Lucas, he created his own universe with Star Wars, and DC has their own universe. Marvel has their own universe. Like, you brought up The Boys, and now, Invincible, they have their own universe. So of course they're gonna have their own teams. Now that's where you see how original they are. And I thought they were pretty good with it. Guardians of the Globe, Teen Team. Now it's very similar. Teen Team, of course, Teen Titans. I get it. But you don't want to copy off somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? And you obviously can't, because, then, lawyers get involved, and but I thought they did a great job. A lot of the names of the characters as well, their backstories, pretty cool. Again, I'm a fan. I binged those first 4 episodes for the first season, because I was, I think I started a month later. Ever since then I was hooked. But some of the team names, some of the character names, listen, very original, went their own way, and kind of on some of them went outside the box, but all around I thought it was
Did you compare them as you're listening to these names immediately?
Of course, yeah. I think we all did. I think we all kind of said, "Oh yeah, that's this guy or that's this girl." You know what I mean? But it's cool to see that. I love seeing that, because then you do that in The Boys as well. Or, okay, they got a speedster, and they got this guy who's kind of invulnerable to everything, and he's got, he's the Superman of that world. You know what I mean? So you definitely see that. I think every comic book head does that when watching a movie that's outside the box, outside of the DC Marvel frame. You definitely do that.
It's so hard to like come up with these new powers, right? Because there's so many things you can do. Magneto with, using his magnetism, yeah, and then all these powers and stuff. It's really hard to come up with something brand new. So I hear you on that.
I think after a while you forget to compare, and you just enjoy the show for what it's worth. I think they did a great job of people who who actually grew up with the two cornerstones, right? DC and Marvel. I forgot about DC and Marvel watching this. I hope the same was for a lot
I
of people
didn't.
as well.
Absolutely not.
Of course. Well, Cole, I got a question for you. As the Spider-Man fanatic of this show, who do you think is closer, Mark and his mother, or Peter Parker and Aunt May? It's not an easy question.
Well, the short answer is I would say Peter to Aunt May because that's his aunt. Peter has no one else to lean on but Aunt May, where because Uncle Ben passed away, and it's only them two really in the house. With Mark and his mom, he still had his dad, even though, things happen in this show on how the father reacted. He still had his father there. So Mark, I don't know, man. I didn't really see like a difference.
Okay.
As far as, the two loves, but I guess since, with Peter, it's not his parents. So Mark's with his mom, but Peter's with his aunt. So that means his mother's sister said, "Come, I got you. I'll take care of you." So if you ask me, and I will be biased about it, definitely Peter and his aunt,
Pete, you feel the same way?
No, because and this is something that goes just outside, what we're talking about. Every child is gonna have a stronger bond with their mother because, that child came out of the mother. And I understand that Peter has nobody else besides Aunt May. That's still his mom. That's still his, he came from her. You understand what I'm saying? Like any man can say, "Damn, I don't know if that's my kid." But a woman cannot say that because obviously the child came out of the woman. I'll always side with that a child will always have a stronger bond with the mother, with his mother, or with their mother than with anybody else.
You know what sucks is like I know people that don't even like their mom, and they came from that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them, I was like, "Yo, why not? That's the person that gave birth to you." And they gave me their reasons. And then I thought to myself, like, who am I to like judge whatever? And I guess I still stick with Aunt May because she brought him in.
No, and
And that's just
I
a
think your
form
mom
of
is
love.
also who raised you. Your mom is also who raised you, where Peter was raised by Aunt May.
Right.
I just say that.
But I hear you, Pete. I definitely hear you on that.
And
Because
it sucks
the
for
majority of us is definitely like, I love my mom.
yeah,
I
exactly.
love my
It
mom.
sucks for them if there's somebody who feels that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, I'm blessed that I don't feel that way. You know what I mean? And it
Mhm.
sucks for them that that's how they feel. But
Do you think at any point in time he resented his mom through these 3 seasons? Like you knew that my dad was a superhero, yet you still brought me into this world.
no, because she apologized to him in the season finale. So
That
and
was
he told her
cool.
it's not her fault. It's not. It's look, he thought of her as a pet, and she
Mm.
didn't know that. I mean, she found out later on,
Oof.
And
but
it was recorded while he was saying it too.
brutal,
We'll get into
brutal.
that.
Okay,
I
sorry.
got something on that. We'll get into that.
What's the rating on this? I hope 18 or over, because to call somebody's mom their pet,
Oof.
ouch.
This is definitely adult
No,
type.
no, he's his wife. His wife.
He called his
He said
wife.
about his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, I love her
Ugh.
like a pet.
Oh.
Pete, next question. Because again, I thought that's powerful because I think you can't tell the story of Mark without Debbie, who's also raising Oliver at the end of here. So, Pete, are you good with the names? In Invincible, like Duplicate and Rexplode. Are you good with these names?
Again, like I talked about earlier, look, applaud their creativity with the names. Red Rush, that was, you know what I'm saying? The Immortal, which at the end, when he was at the funeral, it looked like he was like, oh, thank God it's not me this time because I'm getting chopped in half. My head is gone a couple times. And he came back and he's like, oh, I'm retired now. I couldn't stop laughing at him when I saw him at the funeral. Um, I am cool with the name. And then her brother's name, Duplicate's name was Multipole. I thought that was dope. I thought it was dope. Not what we're used to because I think in the name game, let's call it the name game, Marvel is king. You know what I mean? Marvel did kind of have the blueprint because there is a story where a lot of Marvel's characters are based off of DC characters. But of course they kind of had like a blueprint and said, well, let's go with this name. Even though they're very similar characters, they got like the blueprint from DC. But I think Marvel to me, there's a lot of as far as kind of wacky names go, I think Marvel is last on the list because a lot of their names are great and they're up on the list. But I'm good with the names in Invincible.
Cole, I got a question for you as a person who is not a fan of gore in these type of universes. When you first saw at the end, I think it was episode 1, Omni-Man visiting the Guardians of the Globe at Mount Justice. He pretty much paints the walls with them. Uh, Give me your first feel of that when you saw that, because I could see where you would have turned it off right there. But I know for a fact that you committed to this, which I'm very grateful to have this conversation with you about it. But tell me what you thought about that scene.
I asked myself, what am I watching? What is going on here? What did I sign up for? It was gruesome. It was gruesome and it was terrible. I knew there was a story to it, which what I did like about it was I don't know what's going on. I don't even know these characters. So it's a fresh start. And that's great. I don't know who's good, who's bad, who's going to turn. I can't find you an Easter egg or anything. I'm just watching this like anyone for the first time watching Marvel or DC. And looking at this and seeing that go on, I just really asked myself, why? Why are you doing this? So I'm hoping that there's a bigger story to this. And then as I've seen the 3 seasons, I'm glad that they're getting to something and I'm seeing something come out of this. And that's why it got me hooked. So that first scene was, it just prepared me for what I'm ready to watch. And gross.
I got to go to Pete with this same question, Pete, because I know that that's the biggest turning point, right there, when you're thinking that this guy is our version of Superman,
Yeah.
and he just goes bananas on the best team, right? Because that's supposed to be the A1 team.
That's supposed to be like the Justice League, but it was funny because I remember when I told you, yo, Invincible's pretty good. And you watched the first episode, and you text me. You was like, "What the hell was that?" So Cole's reaction was funny because you had the same reaction. I didn't know either. You know what I mean? Same thing. It's new universe. Everything is new to me. And of course, as the season went along, they explained why. But again, like I think I said the first time we kind of discussed this gore thing. It doesn't deter me either way. Like I don't look for it or I don't shy away from it. Like, once I saw that, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is how it's going to be." And I'm prepared for it going forward. But yeah, that's the tone setter. But again, like Cole said, you don't know anything. You don't know what's going on unless you read the comic books. And none of us read the comic books.
Yeah,
So
this is pure review, fresh. for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
But I will say
And
this.
I'm not, and I just want to say I do want to cop a comic book. I'm actually gonna look for it now, and I'm gonna see if I can find a side show to it. My bad,
Um,
Pete.
the one thing that kind of reminds me, like the way, and this shouldn't be not to judge anybody, but it's just very just pretty much your particular taste in things. Like we all saw the Lost Boys, right? So I think it was their first weekend when they moved. They go to the boardwalk, and Corey Haim goes into the comic book shop with the two Frog brothers, and they keep trying to give him horror comics, and he's like, I don't dig that. You know what I'm saying? So it's very similar to Cole not really liking the gore, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want a comic book with Dracula on it either. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, and they twice they tried to give it to him. He's like, nah, I don't want that, yo. Even though it was free, he said, I'm good. Get it out of here. But it's all about, your preference, and look, you don't have, and I thank Cole for watching so we can have this conversation.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's very
I'm
similar
with
to
you
that.
guys.
Everything is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what the point is here. With
Hey,
me.
if you look at my background, I got the cleanest.
That's blood behind him.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna ignore that and just say, look how clean, and this is more or less how I want to represent Invincible.
He's happy too.
Yeah, it's
That was his first day.
it's actually the cover for the first cover.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, his other name was gonna be Ass Kicker, if you remember. Which was a name out of the Walking Dead. Pete, who does Dark Blood remind you of?
Etrigan the demon, the one who's rhyming, the one who rhymes his name.
The hip hop artist.
Yeah. Etrigan the demon from DC. That's what he reminds me of.
He reminds me of the Question. The Question from DC. Okay, so now that I got your take in on Omni-Man, and you see what he did to the Guardians of the Globe, Cole, tell me about the first time you saw him cutting through the whole Flaxen alien race, that planet, when he was just kind of going through the planet, destroying a whole planet, because he told them this isn't your planet to invade. And they go, this is my planet.
Okay.
When you saw his potential,
right?
You saw his potential destroying a planet,
right?
Give me your thoughts on that.
I didn't like it. All right. I seen a planet eat another planet. That planet was called Unicron. That I liked. With Omni-Man, that part right there, it was already expected, because to be honest with you, Omni-Man turned me off the most when he was grabbing Invincible and going through the subway carts. And when I saw that, that's when I saw power. I said, yo, this is insane right here. While using Invincible to just cut through all these civilians. And it was gruesome and terrible. For me, the writers, they possibly looking, this race, the race itself, they're like, holy smokes. You give everything you got. You got to get a Saiyan, Superman. I mean, like, just to make a dent with this race, how powerful they are. So that didn't surprise me. But for me, he's going to be more special than all of them. And that's what I'm looking for.
When you say you're saying Invincible.
No, Omni-Man. That's what we talk about. Yeah, right? We're talking about Omni-Man. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think the first season in general, it is about Omni-Man, because you're just learning to get to know Invincible. He's just getting to know his powers. You know the big wigs, the big guys, Cecil, and the government. You recognize the Guardians of the Globe, the teen team, right? Invincible is just an introduction to him for the most part, and it's about showing off what Omni-Man can do, right? And staying within that first season, we get introduced to Machine Head, who I thought was just like Black Mask, and then Titan remind me of Luke Cage. Would you want to see a side story? And this is for Pete. Would you want to see a side story about them, like a Penguin series, about the streets, about the hustle? You know, bringing in those guys as a side story. Would you want to see that, Pete?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. It's very similar to the Adam Eve solo episode that they had, which was pretty good as well. Same animation style, and hopefully we'll get to her later because she's one of the best characters that are on the show.
She just
Um,
became number uno, man.
but yeah, I would definitely like that because it's very because like we talk about Daredevil and the Defenders, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones. Those are considered like the street level heroes. You know what I mean? So it would be kind of similar if they did like a Machine Head, you know, like a side story of him or of Titan, because it would be similar to that. You know what I mean? They're not going to be flying around and fighting in space like, you know, we just saw in the season finale. But yeah, I definitely would see. I'd welcome it all, man. They've done a great job. There's no reason for me not to think it would be bad if they did something like that. A
Hey,
series, I'm sorry, a series or just one episode like they did with the Adam Eve one.
A one season,
Yeah.
off. Yeah, yeah. Cole, you were saying something.
oh yeah, only if Machine Head could stay with the auto tunes. As keep him with the auto
Oh no, he has
tunes.
to. Yeah, he has to.
Love him with the auto tunes. He was possibly one of my favorite villains in this whole series, right? Because of the auto tunes only, and you know.
Didn't they say at one point they were like his name is Machine Head, something like that?
I mean, it was great, man. He put a Nintendo 64 cartridge in his head. He was like, I'm loving that right there. He was crazy, and I like him. I like that character, Machine Head, and keep him like that. Oh, was he in jail? He was in.
Yeah.
He had a jumper, right? He had a jumper with the. Oh my gosh, hilarious.
I'm glad that you know, as we go through this, it just reminisce on so much on this show, which was so good. Cole, I got one for you in this one, Battle Beast. And he is one of my favorite characters. Battle Beast is when he fought the Guardians and put a beat down on Mark. Knowing what you know now about Mark, do you want to see a rematch?
Absolutely. So it's crazy because when he left, he was like, there's no competition here. I'm out." Right? He breaks out. He leaves. And in my mind, it was like Infinity War when Black Widow was like with Scarlet Witch, and then they were like, come on, you guys gotta jump in with me on this one. When Scarlet Witch came by and the warrior from pardon me, I don't know her name.
Thanos' group, right? From one of Thanos' people?
Yes.
No, that was crazy. Yeah, Battle Beast, a rematch. I would like to see that as well. Pete, you're up next with this particular question. The battle between Omni-Man and Mark. The final, what we see in season 1. I'm just going to ask you, right? Starting from the point where he called his wife a pet. Shout out to my wife. I love you. I know your wives are amazing, so we would never think that. But starting from there, that whole fight scene in Chicago, the train, the buildings, the banter there. How did you feel going through that?
Just, I think like anybody else would feel like, you know, this guy's putting a beating on his son because he's not going along with the plan. And he, you know, and I think we all forget because there's so much that goes on. He kind of went off protocol because he wasn't supposed to fall in love and start a family. He was supposed to go there, conquer the planet and get it ready for the other Viltrumites to come through. So he kind of, went against orders somewhat. You know what I mean? But he kind of got sidetracked by starting a family, and yeah, it was just when he said that the pet part, I was just like, wow, this guy's just But it showed to me their mentality, and this is not like Superman coming to Earth and he has his powers because of the sun. These guys got their powers forever, and they know, and it's funny because when we see these alternate versions of Superman, they're jerks because they know no one's gonna beat me. Homelander's like that. Omni-Man's like that. Um, Ultraman is like that from the Crime Syndicate. They're all like that because you know what? You're not gonna beat. No one can beat me, so it doesn't matter. Um, and Cole has seen this, and it's not as bad as what the three guys I just brought out, but everybody's seen the Real World MTV. But there was Robot Chicken did the Real World Metropolis, and Superman. It's funny. It's not, but Superman is still a jerk because he knows I'm Superman. Nobody can beat me. So that's a question I'm sure everybody has, and that's why we have these alternate versions. We have Homelander, we have Omni-Man, so we can see what it would be like. And we've seen Superman in Injustice finally lose it and start taking it on himself. Like, yeah, you know what? This is what I say because no one can beat me. But that's just their mentality. Like, it just shows how their mentality, and it's not just one, it's all of them. The whole race is like that. So that's what kind of that to me that fight with Mark and his dialogue during that fight, trying to get his son to buy into what he wanted. It was crazy. That whole episode, that whole scene was crazy, but it also showed me what we're dealing with when we're dealing with Viltrumites, is that it's them and no one else matters because no one can beat them.
Cole, in that same fight scene, Omni-Man has Invincible dead to rights, and he leaves. The quote that is said before he leaves, Omni-Man asked him, you're gonna be in, what are you gonna do 500 years from now with the people you fall in love with? Mark tells him, I'll still have you, and he leaves. What do you think was going on through Omni-Man, Nolan's head at that point when he was crying and he left?
Oh, it definitely had to be confusion because you have your race and your job that you came down here to do was to take over this planet. You ended up falling in love. Now you have an offspring, and having an offspring, you can only imagine that it's gonna reach you in certain ways that no one probably can. So when he left, he was just confused, trying to figure it out.
I mean, there's nothing, as we're all three of us are dads. There's the kids are just precious, aren't they? Like, in the sense, you always see them as your babies and things of that nature. So I trying to remember it all right now, but I think he was having flashbacks of him and his son, right?
Yeah.
Before he left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just crazy how we still, as grown-ups, and his son had lost his teeth. He was bloodied up, and throughout that whole fight, Mark just loved his dad. And I think that's what makes Invincible is love. Where it might have made in our previous episodes might have made us in Penguin, it made Penguin weak. It makes Invincible strong. That's what I thought about it. So
may I add that it's because of that character is the reason why I stuck to this show.
Invincible himself?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if by any chance he turned away from more or less the morals of it. I need a hero in this. And right now I'm just clinging on to him, even though Adam Eve is, doing justice. But it's because of Invincible and because he's showing the resilience and the love is why like I'm sticking to this story. That's why I got him right here. He's holding me down right now.
That's your guy right now. That's your guy right now. Invincible throughout the show.
Pause.
So we're gonna go jump into season 2, right? In season 2, we're introduced to Mark, his college life. He's struggling with his secret identity and college, trying to be a superhero at the same time. But I want to get into the villain of season 2, Angstrom. And I'll go to Pete with this one. What villain does he bring to mind for you in the sense of a guy that can jump into multiverses and can somehow has a way to recruit at an ultimate level? Who do you think Angstrom reminds you of the most?
Well, power wise, I can't really think of anyone power wise as far as just like his presence. I would say Brainiac to me.
So, how about you, Ko?
Sterling K. Brown, right? You know what's crazy is that I'm watching the show and I already knew the actor's name because I'll follow him. Shout out to Sterling K. Brown, yo. um, Brainiac's a good one. I'm going Ninja Turtles. Yeah, what was the villain with the brain and the cranium?
Krang, right?
Krang. There you go. That's who he reminds me of.
I think he's a Kang. In my head, he's a Kang because he went and looked for his other versions of himself.
The time traveler, yeah.
And then was trying to download them, which is crazy to think. I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone try to download all the versions of themselves because they're always trying to avoid each other, right? When you're time traveling and you're jumping universes, you try to avoid your other self. He wasn't. He wasn't trying to duck that smoke. He was actually trying to get them all together and download them. I've never seen that before. I thought that was genius. Ko, do you like Donald?
Ooh,
the guy here, he's true to his game, loves his job, but he's died a million times. So, are you a fan of Donald at all?
Donald is
Cecil's partner.
Right. He is a you know what? I didn't mind him in the story, throwing him in there, wondering because to me, I ain't gonna lie. What I liked was when I saw him in season 2, I said, "What are you doing here? You're dead." And then so when they started to explain it, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." It goes back to when I was saying, with this being fantasy and you could bend reality and do whatever you want. It was cool for them to have a backstory. And he's like, "Look, I'm 95% remade already, robot. So, I only got like 5% of me left and I'm still trying to hang on." I think it was cool because every person involved in here had their fair share and their story to tell. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Donald. Keep bringing him back. Keep downloading him. Pete, Alan the Alien. He works for the Coalition of Planets. I got a Guardians of the Universe type of feel for him, kind of a Green Lantern type of thing for them. What's your take on Alan the Alien? This is my favorite character. Alan the Alien is by far my favorite character. But give me your take on Alan.
He's cool. Like again, like I said, a lot of the from other companies, other universes will kind of mimic some things, and like you said, that's a good comparison. Kind of like Green Lanterns, like protectors of the universe. Like space cops. But yeah, he was cool. He was all right. Nothing didn't move the needle for me like that, but
I
was
thought
cool.
it was great. No, and that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Co, I am going to start off with you with this next question. Tell me
Talk
what
to
your
me.
process was in season 2 when you saw Nolan Omni-Man start a whole new family.
Wow. I was looking at him like, um, what are you doing? You know, you have a family back at home and on Earth that you just left, and you're not even the slightest, remorseful. Even though in that episode you can see that he was trying, but I kind of like the way Mark stood by, like, look, man, what you did was wrong. And Mark's whole take about it, bringing his brother back home and everything, I thought that was genius. But for him to go out and oof, and just end up starting a new family, knowing what you went through, and given that, I don't know, it's a difficult situation. Like, those are situations you got to be on. Like, I've never been in something like that, so I can't really truly answer as far as that is concerned. But by all means, this right here, I get it, man. He's just trying to figure it out, like I said earlier.
Pete, do you think that Debbie should have raised Oliver?
It's the mother. It's the mother in her, and honestly, Mark, it was put on him to raise him, and he agreed to raise him. So she was just helping him out, and of course, she took over and most of the responsibilities because she's a mom, and she wasn't gonna leave that up to her son, who is not even 20 yet at the time, I believe.
Correct. Co, next one to you. Do you believe in Invincible and Adam Eve more than you believe in Mark and Amber?
So, Mark and Amber, break down that couple right there.
So you have, right, and again, I'm gonna relate this a lot to Peter Parker because Peter Parker had Gwen, he had Black Cat, he had Mary Jane. And this here, the love interest was Amber, who went to school with him, the Negrita that he actually had a love interest with. But
Ah,
then,
yes. Now I
but then you
remember.
have Adam Eve, who he was kind of feeling from the beginning. They went to the same high school together.
Yeah.
Um, which relationship do you believe in more?
I believe in the relationship that's gonna work out more. Whichever one you feel that is gonna propel you to be better with your partner. And truthfully though, looking at the story and checking out the show, I would have to say it's great that you get your school crush, but at the end of it all, you find your true love. And I think Eve is a better fit for him because they have pretty much the same occupation, the same likes. So sometimes the two same likes work, sometimes opposites attract. It's all about, who's there for you. So especially in this finale that we just saw, we just all finished watching season 3, the finale. I like the part when he looked at her and she's like, "What?" And he goes, "I really thought I lost you. And seeing you here I'm just so happy." And when she went and hugged him, I really like that part. So I think they make a power couple.
That is a power couple. I agree with you there. Pete, next one's over to you. What's up to Lucas, fourth man on this cast? I love seeing him there. Everyone, please put a note in our comments if you want Lucas to make appearances. Now, Pete, the question, Cecil, do you find him hypocritical? Because in this season 3, we kind of get his backstory, and we kind of find out his origin, and he does not like working with villains, but he creates these dead cyborgs with a villain who almost destroyed a whole campus. Do you find Cecil to be hypocritical?
I guess, but I think in that position, very similar to Nick Fury, that's what they have to do to get things done. So is it hypocritical from our side? Yeah, it is. But I think that's just part of the decisions that they have to make. Being the head of whatever organizations they're ahead of, whether it's Shield, yeah, he's very similar to Nick Fury in that sense, and he has to make the tough decisions. Now we saw the end of season three. Mark told him to burn this guy's corpse, Conquest's corpse, and he decided to keep it. Could it be hypocritical, or could he just be trying to play the long game? And people are going to see it differently. So yeah, I guess by the definition of it, is he hypocritical? I would say yes, but it's also, I believe it was the movie SWAT. It says sometimes doing the right thing ain't doing the right thing. So he said, listen, I'm keeping, he's keeping him around. When he wakes up, he needs intel from him to try to beat the Viltrumites when they eventually show up to Earth.
Carl, I'm going to ask you a similar question about Cecil. Were you okay with him implanting a chip inside Invisible's head?
Given the circumstances that he is trying to protect us normal people without any powers, by all means, do whatever you have to do to protect us. Without his consent, absolutely. I've when I seen Wanda, right?
WandaVision, yeah.
No.
Oh, just her as the Scarlet Witch?
Who is the one in DC?
The witch that the Suicide Squad faced?
No, never mind.
I'm trying to think of it of the thing, but no, I think that I think it was messed up. I think Mark took everything from his pops, showed that he was a good dude. To do that, I think was an ultimate betrayal. To do that, I think was an ultimate betrayal. The dead cyborgs, I get. They're using dead bodies. No one's gonna. You're not throwing live people there, but the implant inside, you broke that trust. Which I want to get into something later on about that. In just a moment.
Wait, but let me ask you though: with you not having powers and all this chaos is going on, you're not okay with that?
I think you have to test someone's mettle, and I think Invincible has shown, until he shows us that he's up anything that's bad, and as much as power as he has, I think you have to give him that trust, because if you break that trust, that's gonna be bad.
Yeah, but didn't they? Didn't he say it in the show? You're starting to act like your father, and we saw what your father did. I think
that's going to trigger most kids who have issues with their dads. That's going to trigger most kids.
But this is a guy that's right. So he can just, I'll be afraid of him. I'll have to do anything just to be careful.
So if you're in Caesar's position, you're good with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't hating on that at all. None the least. Now, if I was part of the team, I would definitely have a problem with it. I'd be like, yo, do I have one too?
That's true. Coke, next question goes to you. Were you worried that Oliver was going to go full Brightburn after the Marla twins? He killed them.
This is going to sound terrible, but he's my least favorite character. I really don't care for Oliver.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm sorry, not sorry. He could have burned. Whatever. He came the best, he came through for his big brother. I like when his mom told him, just you would think that she was gonna say, no, you need to stay here. She said no. just try to stay away, be fast and quick. And I love that. And he went and he intervened and helped Invincible, not get to his true death. But I don't care about him. I just
So
don't.
I'll throw the question to Pete on that one. Did you think that he was gonna go evil after he killed the Molar twins?
It showed that he could, because especially when Mark had the chance to kill Angstrom, and he didn't, but he wanted him to kill him. Um, but it's kind of he kind of like came back from that when he went to go help him. But no, I thought there was a possibility that he could, but I'm glad that he didn't. Also being, his father's son, you could see that. But just to go off what Cole said, as far as that's his least favorite character, nothing wrong with that. There's some of my favorite shows that there are characters I could do it out. We both are fans of The Office. I thought Ryan was the worst character on there. Um, Big Bang Theory, Amy, she's the worst. And Modern Family, they went and had a kid, and the kid to me served no purpose. So
Yeah,
I don't think there's.
if Oliver's in the Nico bucket, I'm okay with that.
Well,
That's okay with
that's
that.
big.
That's big. Yes, I love that take.
Amanda Waller. That's who I was talking about. So Amanda Waller, she would take the Suicide Squad, and then she would end up putting up all the I'll blow your head off if you get out of whack. That's who I was trying to
There you go.
compare.
Pete, do you think that that future scene with Immortal was that even worth it? I mean, I guess they're just kind of setting up something for the future, but were you okay with that? I was like, this is pointless.
Yeah, no, I'll. It's kind of like what you brought up with when we spoke about Daredevil the last episode. You asked about Red Hook. I mean, we don't have answers for you, but I'm sure they'll come down. They'll come down the line. That's something else. Again, that was into the future, a long way into the future. So I'll just let it play out instead of trying to like figure out what it was, because it wasn't part of the main story. So in instances like that, I'll just let it play out and then see how the dots connect later on.
Cole, next question for you. Does Paul, Mark's mom's co-worker, does he have a shot?
Oh, okay. So remember, I'm new to this show.
No. Paul is kind of new character for the show anyway. So Paul
What season?
is a
Season
love interest.
3?
We're in season 3 here. He's kind of trying to date Mark's mom.
Oh, okay. I remember now. Yes, the one that was telling Oliver, "Get in the car, please. Do it for me." Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All references, proof. I really watched this show.
All right, yeah, but does he have a shot with Debbie?
Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
any woman that allows you to meet their kids, yeah, you're already in. Yeah.
P Powerplex. And when he unlocked his powers, stealing some government stuff. What would you have done different? That he tried to do to get that fight in within him.
Not use my family as bait. That to me, I'm sorry, that was pretty dumb. And then be surprised that they died. Like, dude, no, man. They were supposed to like get on a plane and go on like the opposite side of the country, wherever the hell we were at. They're supposed to be as far away as they can get. There's no way I would have used my family as bait. No way, no how.
Cole, did you expect Alan the Alien Omni-Man to come in and rescue and show up in that last battle?
Yeah, absolutely. I was anticipating it for sure. Again, with Omni-Man, he's trying to figure himself out. He might be able to fight back and get his family back. And Alan's just been an ally from jump, ever since you try to take a sandwich and take a bite out of a sandwich in space and it turns to damn ice. What do you think? But yeah, I anticipated it actually, so that was really good.
Sandwich.
Yeah. There you go.
People, all these Invincibles come out during these episodes, and there's so many variants of the Invincibles out there. And I think you said it earlier in this podcast, when a lot of people have this type of power, they will go to the extreme because they know that no one can beat them. Was there a favorite Invincible of yours out of all the different ones?
No, there were too many to kind of like keep track of. But they're, again, they are Viltrumites, and they're variants of him. But again, it shows like what Cole was saying. Cole said he was rooting for this guy. He looks to be he looks like he's the only good one. The other ones kind of followed in their father's footsteps, kind of got his mentality, and you see that with all of them. But again, he was raised the right way, but no, I didn't have a favorite. But again, they were all evil. They're
No, it goes
not
back
one
to
of them.
Cole's point too, because Cole has said that he knows some people that are not a fan of their mothers, and we saw that in the Invincible Cole. We saw that he goes, "Man, I hate my mom." I think one of them says that, and then when the guy says, "Man, I love her," you know what I'm saying, just to show that the different takes on different things. But one of the deaths that I was like, oh, and they brought in one of my favorite artists to sing it, Billie Eilish, when the party's over, when Rex Splode died. Can take me through when you saw that, right? Because they didn't show the gore on that one. They just showed that he sacrificed himself in a sense. But give me a take, Cole.
The name's Gambit. Remember it. That was cool. If I didn't see X-Men 97, I would think that would have possibly be one the best parts of this show. And I thought that was so dope that he blew himself up and stuff like that. But it just reminded me of the X-Men 97 when Gambit did it. And yeah, it was dope. That was really cool.
Pete, should Invincible, that second fight with Angstrom, should have absolutely destroyed him?
Absolutely. It sucked. I was a little pissed off that he didn't. With all, and look, especially that he hurt his mom before. Like, bro, he knows too much about you. You needed to erase that, and he didn't. Mistake. Powerplex made a mistake using his family as bait. He could have. He would have eliminated something, a worry. He would not have to worry about that guy ever again if he had it. He had it right there. Slip through your fingers is a definition of right. That's what happened to Mark right there. Slipped through his fingers, and he had it, fumbled it.
So then I'm gonna ask you a follow-up question: should the Batman kill the Joker in that same sense?
No, no, it's something that he doesn't want because he says once you do it once, you become just like them. So if he's trying to not be the same as what he's fighting, then why would he do the same thing that they're doing? That's the whole thing about him is that, once you do it once, you're just like them. And there's no coming back from that.
And since Invincible's killed before, he should be okay with killing Angstrom now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, he's killed, like you said, he's killed before. So, yeah, absolutely should have bodied him.
Cole, this is going to lead us towards the end of this show where we talk about the last episode, Conquest. And I'll say this. I said this on X, Twitter. It is the most riveting fight I have ever seen in animation. And take me with your final thoughts on that final episode, Conquest. What kind of stood out to you? And I'm going to ask Pete the same question.
All right, the final episode of season 3 of Invincible. You can catch it on Amazon Prime. Oh, I'm gonna take my time on this one, y'all. Come ride with me. I want to go back because when you asked Pete about the different variants, I loved each and every variant. How fire was that? Money with just the mask coming down, like the handkerchief coming down in blue. I saw one that looked like his dad with the white, but it was invincible. And the dark blue one, my favorite one has to be the one that said, "I'll kick all your asses." That was my favorite because he's asking for it. And also bringing the whole, like, for me, the season was okay. It wasn't like season 1, which was, of course, an automatic banger, and even season 2 was a good follow-up. Season 3, for me, was looking for, there were more fillers within this show than needed to be, in my opinion, right? But with that being said, the final episode was definitely worth the watch. From seeing the great battle I mean, it was disgusting. I wasn't happy watching this. I was like, this got to end. And it was, a great battle scene, but come on, guys. Like, how much pint of blood do we really have? But the connection with Eve, and I like her name, Adam Eve, Atom hyphen Eve. And for her to not come back to life, to come back to life, be even stronger, it just reminds me of Dragon Ball Z. And for me, overall, I like the way it tied not only the whole season 3, but the entire series, and to give you that continuation. Can't wait for season 4. Overall, 2 thumbs up. I mean, a very, very excellent, excellent show. I could do without the gore, but hey, if that's what you want to do it, you still got me in because of the characters you build, the story you're telling, and yeah, and it's a lot of fun to be brand new to this. So, thumbs up for sure.
Pete, I know you and I quickly texted the Walking Dead reference. The revenge of Glenn on Negan came to mind during this fight as Jeffrey D. Morgan plays Conquest. But the last episode had no breaks, all gas. Take me through what you thought.
It was like us watching a heavyweight boxing match. Just, once the bell starts, they're fighting. You know what I mean? And the dialogue was amazing. The dialogue was amazing. I remember with the big thing when Negan, same character who Jeffrey Dean Morgan played Negan in The Walking Dead, and he played Conquest here in Invincible. And he's just great at that type of banter. Um, the cockiness that he shows in both characters that I just mentioned. But just these guys are throwing haymakers the whole freaking episode, and it shows. And he's like the ultimate Viltrumite, because Cecil said we don't even know if Nolan can take him down. And to me, I'm just like, wow, this cat is like, we've seen him already. And then what Cecil says, it's just like, you see that Cecil was stressed. He's trying to get this guy to get those cyborgs ready. It just showed his presence in this episode was just, and it was a build-up because everybody was kind of waiting for this guy. Episode was great. And the Adam Eve aspect with Mark, their connection and her coming back to life was pretty dope. It reminded me of Phoenix. She has like a Scarlet Witch, Phoenix vibe to me. She's when I heard what her power was in the beginning of the series, she's like Firestorm. If you know Firestorm's power, he can change he can change
Matter.
matter. And she has that same power, but she's definitely she seems more powerful than he is. Again, I put her on the same type of level as Jean Grey, and Wanda, Scarlet Witch. But the episode overall, it was one of the best fights I've seen in animation. And to address the gore, like we grew up watching, Justice League on Cartoon Network. You know what I'm saying? And now that we're older, you see a lot of these comics get their time on either live on the big screen, animation, on streaming. So I think these guys, when they get a different platform than Cartoon Network, they're able to have a little bit more liberty to be a little bit more adult, because this is definitely not for kids.
This
You
is
know?
not shown on Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can't. Disney Plus is not a good example because they got Deadpool, they got Daredevil, they got the Punisher. So it's I'm kind of my thing is Cartoon Network was Justice League. You know what I mean? And we watched Shazam fight Superman. It was called the episode was called Clash in Justice League Unlimited. Now there was a lot of collateral damage, but you didn't see gore. But when you go to something like Image Comics and it's Amazon Prime, and they say, yeah, go ahead, do what you want. It's geared more towards us. And they have an opportunity to be creative and show how vicious and how powerful Viltrumites are. And these aren't regular people having fights with each other. These are super beings with abilities having fights with each other. So I think that's why they go that route, to kind of show the power and the viciousness of them, because you see, he said it. I'm having the time of my life right now. I can't remember when I've cut loose like this. And and Cole, you remember this. We talked about this when Superman fought Darkseid at the end of Justice League Unlimited. He said, now I have the opportunity to cut loose because you can take it. And that's when Superman really went in on Darkseid. And the only other time you saw that happen was with Shazam. Because, they can take it. Superman has to hold back. These are a race. This is a race that has no interest in that. And he went down there and that was like playtime for him. So great episode overall. I loved it. Like I said about Invincible, I'm invested and I can't wait for season 4.
The part that touched me the most is when he was stretching out Kojak's favorite character, Oliver. And it wasn't blood that you were seeing. What was coming down on Conquest's face was Oliver's tears. That part took me like, wow. And the banter, probably the best banter during a fight. Yes. And listen, I'm gonna give it this: the best banter fight is always Spider-Man. Spider-Man is funny when he fights.
Oh, absolutely.
So is Deadpool when he fights. I've never seen anything like this. This guy was enjoying. He goes, I like the feel of blood on my hands. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is it, guys. I hope this was probably a longer episode, but we had to go through 3 seasons. We hope that you enjoyed. I'm looking forward to all the comments, all the replies, all the stuff to get into. I'm looking forward to Invincible fans that read the comic books to kind of chime in, school us. I'm okay with that, but subscribe. We're going towards our first 100. And I hope you're a part of that when it comes to that first 100. And I want to celebrate that as well. But thank you for watching us. Please please subscribe. We enjoyed, and I hope you did too. Have a great day, guys. Love you all. Let's rock out.
We will return.
The worst episode ever.